to another episode of Leadership Dialogues brought to you by the Confederation of Indian Private Universities. Today, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Anil Kashyap, the President and Chancellor of NICMAR University, Pune, a visionary leader who has been at the forefront of transforming higher education in the fields of construction, infrastructure, and real estate. Dr. Kashyap's leadership has been instrumental in shaping NICMAR into one of India's premier institutions for specialized education. A short introduction about him before we move into the questions. Professor Dr. Anil Kashyap is a distinguished academic leader, renowned scholar, and expert in built environment research. He serves as the first president and chancellor of NICMAR University, overseeing its campuses in Pune, Hyderabad, and Delhi NCR. With 28 years of experience across practice, academia, and research, both in India and abroad, Dr. Kashyap holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering with distinction from NIT Kurukshetra, a master's in urban planning from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and a PhD from the University of Ulster, UK. An alumnus of Harvard University, he is trained in higher education leadership and change management and is a fellow of the Higher Education Academy, UK. Dr. Kashyap previously held leadership roles at prestigious institutions such as UWE, Bristol, Coventry University, and Ulster University. His vision for NICMAR is to establish it as a nationally and internationally recognized institution, preparing industry-ready graduates through specialized education programs. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, Dr. Kashyap. So without much ado, let me move into the questions directly. My first question to you is, higher education is undergoing a massive transformation worldwide. So driven by globalization, technological advancements, and changing student expectations. So from your perspective, what are the key global trends shaping the future of universities? And how can institutions like NICMAR adapt to these changes to stay relevant in the coming decades? Over to you.
Firstly, thank you, Karthik, for providing this opportunity to talk to the academic leaders and the fraternity on really important aspects. And thank you for hosting this at CIPU, which is becoming a really great platform for sharing the knowledge and insight. I'm really delighted to be part of that. Now, coming back to the question here, there are a number of key global trends which are reshaping the higher education landscape quite rapidly. And if I begin with a quote, education is a tool for change. Be educated so that you can change the world. It is so true in today's context that in order to make some impact into the humanity, society, science, technology, education is the key foundation and fundamental for anybody who starts that. There have been previous examples of being successful, like Steve Jobs and a few others, where they started the ideas, innovation from very small, humble beginning, but led to transformatory changes and influence in the technology. However, in majority, education provides that strong foundation fundamental. These days, globally, with the rising global competition and student expectation, the education sector is transforming itself quite rapidly. It has adapting even since COVID time, and the landscape has drastically changed since COVID. It is a combination of global changes as well as geopolitical configurations, also the student expectation clubbed with the technology and the demand of the new generation. This landscape is totally different as you, I, and some of our colleagues in leadership role would have experienced in their life. Also, the technology has enabled a number of things in terms of hybrid learning, and the style of learning is changed quite a lot. So these days, students are talking about learning from anywhere. This is a buzzword, learning from anywhere, which means that the boundaries, the brick and mortar, the institution, all these have become no barrier in the new dimension and new landscape of higher education. These are getting broken, and it will dismantle very quickly more as we move into into the new education scenarios. Also, technology is helping quite a lot. This is a major shift in kind of not only the learning management system, but also the ed tech. There is so much of knowledge available, which is sometimes free, sometimes paid, sometimes less paid, sometimes expensive. But the amount of data, the amount of information, the knowledge is immense at the hand of a learner. And that is also a changing trend in the global education system. And also, finally, with all that, lots of funds are required, and the crunch in the funds are being experienced globally. Also in UK universities, US universities, here as well, in Indian universities, where there is always a limitation in terms of how much funds are available at the disposal, and number of decisions are revolved around the funding situation. If there are lucky ones with the good support in terms of funding, they can do a little bit more in terms of providing the infrastructure facilities to the students, to the learners. Where the funding is a little bit crunched, then obviously the compromise on student experience is taking a toll. And that is the major concern as a academic leader, I feel. It's not a level playing field as such, but funding does play quite a significant role in higher education. And coming to the second part of the question, which is about NICMAR, which is a public trust generously guided by the industry, where we have dealt with the number of the challenges which I have outlined, and we have quickly adopted to some of these new dimensions. However, our core focus has been onto the student learning and the engagement, the experience of the student, the employability, where regular industry talks, industry engagement is happening, and students are provided those opportunities to learn and engage with the industry, and also focus on the employability. That has helped us quite a lot in terms of its market positioning, as well as the popularity amongst the graduates, as an institution of destination. With the changing in the technology, we have been able to provide flexibility in learning as well. And flexibility in learning, I mean to say that the e-learning platforms, the library resources, the e-learning books, the journals, also lots of technological interventions. We have got subscription to Coursera, large platforms, Fairware and NPTEL. All these variety of platforms are there for our students to engage with. And that is where we have been luckily able to resource all those things, given all those difficult times after COVID as well. So we have been luckily able to fund and resource all those, leading to student employability, as well as the new learning environment for all of them. And we have upgraded the infrastructure to a modern context as well, where learning also happens quite seamlessly, and students really enjoy that. And that's where we have been managing this global trend so far. But a lot more to come. Just want to alert everyone that lot more disruption is incoming, and we need to be really getting ourselves ready to face all those changes, and really be agile and flexible in adopting those changes.
Thank you, Dr. Kashyap. So as we see these global shifts, so it's fascinating to think about how institutions can adapt and evolve to stay relevant in such a fast-paced world. So in line with these trends, NICMAR has always been recognized for its for forward-thinking approach. So let's now take a deeper dive into how the institution has mainly shaped its educational methods to prepare the students for an ever-changing industry. So my next question to you is, can you share some of the innovative teaching methods or programs you have implemented at NICMAR to ensure that students are not only academically proficient, but also industry ready?
Certainly. Industry has been the key strength of NICMAR right from the beginning. And industry-ready curriculum, which is needed by the industry, has been at the core and center of NICMAR's curriculum delivery. In order to deliver, apart from the brick and mortar, the buildings and the infrastructure, we would require the faculty which is well trained into these niche areas of construction infrastructure, which is not a general subject as such in any of the specializations in other places, even in NITs or IITs. So it is important to nurture and develop the faculty and plan the lessons in such a way that the industry value is driven out of the classroom. And that has been a key strength of NICMAR, as I earlier mentioned as well. We have got case studies which are live, and always faculty is encouraged to use those case studies, cases. We have been using a unique method of interning the faculties over summer period of time. So we have got number of infrastructure companies. They have offered number of places to our faculty, and they go for 2 weeks time, get themselves acquainted with what is happening in new site conditions and new machines and technologies, and the methods of planning and management of the projects. That has one way helping getting the new material for the classroom, but at the same time, faculty also getting upskilled in their own areas of expertise. Research has also been very much into focus with NICMAR, because in our niche areas, we find very limited researchers engaged into these areas. So we have been putting lots of emphasis in driving our research capabilities, working with industry, identifying some of their pain points, their problem areas, and that's how whole ecosystem completes, leading to employability, leading to industry engagement. And also we take help of lots of guest talks. By the way, on Wednesday afternoon, I have kept all the timetabled classes free for inviting guest speakers into the classroom or into a big auditorium. We have got a big auditorium. If any guest lecture happens on Wednesday afternoon, and that expert can come and address almost 1,000 students at one point in time, which is helping quite a lot, and that helps into motivate students and also help engage with the industry. So those are few innovations we have been doing on campus, but the key of any successful story is it's good faculty, the happy faculty, happy students, good student engagement, and at the end the industry recognize that what value the students are bringing at the end of their education when they go on the first day of their employment.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. So, speaking of challenges, so every institution has got its unique hurdles, and especially in today's fast evolving landscape, educational landscape. So, I'd love to hear your insights on the leadership challenges that come with such transformative times. So, my next question to you is, what do you consider to be the most pressing leadership challenges in today's academic world? And how do you believe leaders can adapt to continuously changing environments to ensure sustainable growth and success of their institutions?
Yeah, it's a very difficult and sort of tricky area to touch upon, because I believe that leadership is a very lonely journey, and you don't often find too many friends to talk about your leadership challenges and the solutions. But one thing which I really get on my hands to is a book by Lee Bowman. It's called Reframing Academic Leadership, and it gives me quite good insight that what kind of leadership challenges are there, and how to really navigate and maneuver some of those successfully. The key lessons which from my own journey, I have learned and picked up over a period of time is that, I always focus on big picture. It is the more strategic directioning of any academic leadership decision. What is the big purpose of that? What's the bigger purpose? What is the bigger objective? What's the bigger outcome of that? And that's where then you are able to take those decisions very quickly, because you have got your own values, priorities, vision, mission identified. And if we are sticking to the bigger picture, it always helps in keeping the focus on the main picture, main objective, rather than getting bogged down by smaller aspects of day-to-day management. The second thing which I have learned over a period of time is, for a leader to be successful, leader need to listen, need to understand, and need to respect the differences. Their academic leadership is very challenging, because everybody, you are dealing with intelligent people around you, and always there are differences in opinions, and one need to really be listening to those opinions, understanding which point of view they are coming from, and also respecting their differences as well, if there are any difference in opinions, because they are founded on something which is quite legitimate and tangible. Also, there are one need to, as a leader, one need to separate the purpose from the problems. So what is the purpose? What purpose you are here for, rather than what problems you are trying to look at. And in doing and focusing on the purpose, number of problems also get disappeared over a period of time. And that is where some of these leadership lessons also help in navigating the day-to-day problem as well. And I keep referring to some of these key aspects of managing conflicts. Whether you are leading from the front, either you are it's a very interesting saying called, you have to be in the balcony as well as on the dance floor. So at what point in time you have to be in the balcony looking at the bigger picture, and at what point in time you have to be on the dance floor where action is happening. So it is that kind of balance is also required in a academic leadership role. And finally, also empathy is quite important these days. Since you are dealing with so many intelligent people, I think a leader has to be empathetic, listening to all the constituents, need to be fair, and need to be really balanced in the approach. And if you are sticking to the bigger purpose, bigger objective, and convincing your constituents, I think everybody try and understand all those things and fall in line with the bigger goal, and always there are successful outcome of these interventions.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. So leadership in education is undoubtedly one of the most challenging yet rewarding roles, especially when it comes to navigating through these times of constant change. So your thoughts on leadership are sure to resonate with the leaders across the academic world, definitely. So thank you so much for taking your time to join us today and for sharing your invaluable insights. And we wish you and NICMAR continued success as you shape leaders of tomorrow. Thank you so much, Dr. Kashyap. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, CIPU as well, being very proactive into academic leadership as well as other challenging dialogues in across the higher education, and really appreciate and very delighted to be part of this dialogue of today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kashyap.